You're listening to The Next Chapter is Hers, a podcast about healing, growth, and becoming the main character of your life. We are your hosts, Hannah
and Heather, sisters, storytellers, and your weekly hype women.
Welcome back, main characters. Welcome back, main characters. Today we are cozy and comfy with a longtime bestie of mine, and I cannot wait for you to meet her. But I want to start this off by kind of leading it to Heather for a second, because Heather and Britt actually have so much in common. And I think that if you've listened to Heather's episode, which was episode number 3, then this episode might be a good addition to that.
Yeah, Britt and I have a lot in common. We connected a lot over our struggles with infertility and our IVF war stories.
Oh, yeah.
I have so much love and respect for her, and her story resonates with me so much, and it also kind of tears at my heart a little bit, which I know will really kind of...
I know, no spoiler alert.
Get your tissues.
But I think it's nice because those who may have connected with you on a lot of your story that might not have had the same outcome as you may really fall in love with Britt and her story, because it's a totally different chapter of a totally different book.
Absolutely, for sure.
So today's question to you guys is, what do you do when your dream of motherhood doesn't go as planned? When your body doesn't follow the timeline and the life you imagine starts to disappear? Today's guest is a story of heartbreak, healing, and hopping on a plane alone to change your life. And Britt, we are so excited to be cozied up with you tonight.
Britt. Hi, you guys. I'm so excited to be here.
We got like a brisk spring night here.
It sure is. Yeah.
So we got our cozy blankies and our cups of tea, and we're ready to chat with you.
And
so
our
ready.
Therapy puppy, who's a furnace, so I'll be sweating in about 5 minutes. So Britt, for those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I'm Britt, or Brittany, or Britt around the world. I go by all of those. I am a special education teacher by day and a travel creator by nights, weekends, and on my breaks.
Love that.
Which is coming up soon. So lots of travel content on its way.
And where are you guys planning to go next? What's happening next?
So our next trip that is planned is to Barbados.
Ooh.
Yeah. And by we, it's me and my husband.
I love that. We are definitely going to touch on that and what's actually next in your chapter at the very end. But I want to kind of go back in time a little bit about what got you to becoming Britt around the world and the woman you are today.
Sure. So a lot of Brit around the world stemmed from our early love of travel. I've loved to travel since I was very young. My parents took us all around, a lot of the Caribbean, around the US. So I fell in love with it at an early age. And then I've just found that travel has been so healing through my entire life. So through my hardest chapter, most recently, going through IVF, I have refound my love of travel that is healing and helping me re-find myself and my confidence and all of that good stuff.
And your passion with your hubby too, right?
Yes. Yes.
We love a good passionate love story.
Yes. The fire is refiring.
Oh, so sitting through going back to Heather's episode, we talked a lot about the journey of infertility. We talked a lot about the medical things that happen and all the things when it comes to like the logistics of infertility. And I know you two have talked about your journey separately. So we already know the differences in this room. Mm-hmm. But there was a really big, I want to go like straight into the diagnosis and like right into the fertility.
There were some medical hurdles that she had to overcome.
Yeah, you say it. That sounded great.
Do you want me to start? Do you want me to like introduce the whole subject?
Sure.
So Britt, I know you and I have connected a lot on our infertility battles. Yeah. But there's definitely some clear definitions between our instances. And I know that there's some medical diagnoses that you've received and just a clear definition of, what did I say before?
I don't know, but you were good until the last part.
Damn it.
Yeah, that was really good.
I know that there are some clear definitions between my struggle and your struggle. So tell us a little bit about the diagnoses that you received that, started out this journey differently.
Yeah. So my journey started without me trying to get pregnant. So we were not at that stage yet. And realistically, we weren't even engaged when this all kind of started. I was having severe cramping pains monthly with my periods that caused me to talk to the doctor and ask for a deeper dive into what was going on, which led to ultrasounds and MRIs and ended up having surgeries because I have what is called a unicornuate uterus. Basically, I'm a unicorn. Welcome to my life.
And you learned this at what age?
Yeah, how old was I? I had to have been 29, 28 maybe.
So 29, you weren't even thinking about kids yet, or like it was like in the future plans.
I mean, my entire life was revolved around me settling down and having a family and having my husband that would be coaching them in sports. And like I envisioned all of that in my life. But at that exact instance, me and my now husband had been newly together. And things just kind of spiraled rapidly. So him and I never talked about having kids together, or like
you just weren't there yet.
Yeah, we weren't there yet. The idea of marriage like was joked about, but there was never serious conversation around it. So when I got this diagnosis, and what a unicorn uterus is, I have half of a uterus, and with that you could have different like formations. So I have what is called a rudimentary horn. So half of the other half of my uterus that is not uterusing.
The non-unicorn side of the uterus.
Yes. It's basically blocking my fallopian tube to my ovaries.
So basically your normal sort of like kind of heart-shaped uterus is more kind of just like a oval. Like it's just kind of like one side. It's just, and the other side just has.
It's just like there.
Like there. It's just kind of just like, it's a little meh.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly how I picture it in my head. So.
It's that like SNL skit. Yeah. What's her name?
I have no clue.
It's like the three sisters that are like singing and they're like introducing themselves, and then the last sister's like,
oh. Yeah. I can see it now.
That is my rudimentary horn.
And I'm Louie, or something like that. Someone out there correct us, please, in the comments and let us know.
I should look that up and actually do that skit because that's hilarious.
And turn it into a uterus.
We're clearly a little slap happy tonight.
Anyway,
so just roll with this episode, guys. Just trust in the process.
Listen, you have to make light of these really sad things that I've gone through. So, and that's how I've gotten through a lot of this, is just like making jokes and making light of, like, after the realism of what's happened and being sad through it, like I look back and I'm just, I have to make light of all of it. So
you're looking at it though with like different eyes, like kinder eyes, you know?
Oh yeah.
And we talk about that a lot, I feel like, because when you're in the moment, it's so full of emotions and so like hot and heavy that afterwards you're able to kind of be like, you know, like I am not mad where the path of my life went right now, and I can like forgive my old self or accept my old self and just kind of be more in the moment of who I am now and just know that it's in the past.
Listen, I'm grateful for every experience that I've been through. I mean, it was hard and difficult, and I found myself in a black hole of really sad emotion. But I look back and it was such a learning experience and a growing experience.
Yeah.
I think we're getting off track. We're going too far forward. We have to reel it back.
Okay.
So nobody knows it's sad yet.
Yeah. Okay. You're right.
So
your unicornuate uterus. We have to go back there.
Okay, yeah. So my unicornuate uterus.
Wait, say that one more time.
Unicornuate uterus.
Okay.
I think the whole okay. Start over.
Okay. Is there something else in these cups of tea?
Ashwagandha.
I am getting freaky tonight.
Okay.
Brody.
So I have what is called a unicornuate uterus, which basically means that I have half of a uterus. And there are different forms that come along with this uterus. And with my half of a uterus, the other half is basically just there. It has closed my fallopian tube, so there's no way for my eggs from my ovaries to get to my uterus. But on the right side, that is functional. That would be my active side. So I got this diagnosis, which didn't really solve any of the pain that I was having. So that's when we went into surgery to look deeper into what my uterus actually looked like, to see if maybe we needed to remove the rudimentary horn. And then there were questions around endometriosis. And when I had my surgery, laparoscopy is what it's called. They did find endometriosis very minimally, but enough to cause pain. I also had it on my bladder. And then it was on the inside and the outside of my uterus. So he removed it during that surgery.
Wow.
That's where he saw my rudimentary horn, and he was curious if that was what was causing the endometriosis, because it still could act like a uterus. So technically it's filling every month and potentially overflowing, which is outside of my uterus. So that's how the endometriosis could have gotten outside and onto my bladder.
Wow.
Is from the overflow. So he recommended me to a technically he's a fertility specialist, but he specializes in the reproductive system of women in general. So I went there. We had like a whole questionnaire, and then from there he recommended that I just do the preliminary searches, since I think at that time I was 30 years old-ish. And he was like, you're still young, but since you're here, we might as well check, right? We better be proactive than reactive in case there was anything more. But you're more than able to get pregnant with a unicornuate uterus. It's very rare that a unicornuate uterus doesn't get pregnant. Like, I don't know. I'm like
so many medical terms at once, and then you're just like overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine how you felt in that moment. It just, I mean, learning something about yourself that you obviously had no clue about. Started as a doctor's visit because you had pain and discomfort during your monthly periods, and now you're literally being told by a doctor you have this very rare condition. And he's like kind of positively optimistic, like,
yeah,
I mean, absolutely I do this, but
for the first 6 months of this diagnosis, it was no big deal. They were like, no, it's no big deal. It's just you have half a uterus. That's it. Like, which no other complications.
Probably because what they're rudimentary, what they're thinking in layman's terms is your uterus grows and expands to a baby anyways. So the other half of it, the only thing that you're losing out of the other half of it is having access to that ovary over there, which if this one's making up for it, then it doesn't really matter. It's like, did you end up having the surgery to get rid of the little uterus?
No, because before I was able to do that, I had further diagnoses.
Dum dum. Here comes the rest.
Okay, yeah, keep going. Tell us it all.
Yeah, so from there, I ended up doing the preliminary fertility stuff just to see.
Hormone testing and whatnot.
Yep, the blood work that goes behind it, all of the terms way better than I do. I'm like, the saline sonogram and blah, 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 whatever. There's days worth of tests to be done. And the very first one is the blood work. So I get the blood work done, and then they're like, oh yeah, we'll call you with your results by like 3:00. Now, I didn't get a call. I was told it was going to be a nurse that would be calling me. It was a 5:00 phone call, and the doctor was calling me. So when I answered the phone and I heard it was him and it was late at night, I'm like, this can't be good news. So I answer the phone, and of course I take this phone call on my own because my husband is showering. So I'm like, I'm not going to go like take him out of the shower for this phone call. I'll be able to handle it. And it was just not good news. It was news that I have a severely diminished ovarian reserve, that my numbers are way lower than they're supposed to be.
And for the layman out there, it's like you're 29 or 30, but it's basically like you're a menopausal.
Yeah.
Late 40-year-old woman.
Yes. Yep. So I finished all of the testing that came along with it. But the doctor still was optimistic. He was like, I've seen women with these numbers get pregnant before. I'm like, what about a woman with a unicornuate uterus with these numbers? Because knowingly, like, okay, my egg numbers are low. I don't have the same amount of eggs that I should at 29 years old. But on top of that, only one of my ovaries is attached to my uterus. So the chance of getting pregnant naturally, which I was being told is still potentially an option. Like, I'm a mathematical person. I'm like, probability doesn't really weigh out here, right? Like, there's no chance. There's a chance.
But you gave it a chance.
Yes. So with that, I was immediately recommended for IVF. Typically, like, there's a process, like, you try naturally for a few months. You try IUI. Then you think about IVF. Like, the doctor was like, nope. We're jumping right into it. We're going to go for it.
And at this point, you're not even engaged yet, right?
Yeah. Well, at that point, we had just gotten engaged. I got my diagnosis of my uterus before we were engaged. I remember having the conversation with Tommy and being like, this is where I'm at. And then 3 months later, he proposed. And I was like, okay, this man actually wants to be with me and I'm broken.
Oh,
well, that's how it felt. Those moments were some of my darkest days. Before I even knew I needed to do IVF, when I heard about my uterus in general, I was like, all I've ever dreamed of was having a family and raising kids, and those dreams immediately look different. They still exist because I'm being told they should exist, but knowing that there's something wrong with me is how it felt. I know that there's nothing wrong with me now. Like, this is who I am and I've grown so much from it. But in those moments, feeling that way and knowing like every dream I've ever had and every future I ever pictured for myself
is at least going to have a hurdle, an obstacle course in front of it.
Could potentially not be possible. Right. And it's terrible because I'm usually a very optimistic person. I've always found a positive in a negative situation. In that moment was the first time, and truthfully, in my entire life where I couldn't find my purpose, like a positive. Why am I here? What is the reason of me existing if I can't have kids? Like, I'm a woman. I'm supposed to be able to do that so easily and naturally. And then I felt guilty because I know there are women who can't and go through the challenges of it. So I persevered and I went through IVF and I did all of the things. We did wait on IVF for a few months because we were getting married. It was all like, find this out, got engaged. Find out we have to do IVF, get married, do IVF. Jumping right into it. Yeah. Like, there was no time for us to even be newlyweds because we were trying to make a baby as soon as possible.
Because they put this, because there's this, with low AMH numbers, there's this like doom and gloom that like every minute is ticking. And it's, you already kind of get this like ticking time clock when you're like in your 30s. Like, your time is running out, which it's totally not running out for most people. But then you're given this diagnosis. And so they say, okay, guys,
warp speed.
Yeah, I know you guys really just met and got married, but you know, if you want to have a kid, you got to do it now.
Yeah.
So there's not really any of that in between time where you really get to like enjoy yourself. You feel like you're like really put on a fast track.
Yeah. And that was the first big decision that we needed to make, because we sat there and we were like, do we put our honeymoon on hold or do we put this on hold? We decided to go through with our honeymoon, and we told the doctors that we would do it when we got back. We would start immediately when we got back because our honeymoon was special to us. That was the first trip that we were going to take together, and travel had been a part of our lives since both of us were young. We had talked about it from the minute we had gotten together. Then COVID hit. Then we got engaged. Then we got married. So we hadn't taken a trip together our entire relationship. And both of us like revolved around travel. So it's like, how are we living like our lives together and not actually traveling together when that's really like something we enjoy doing? So we were like, we're going to go on our honeymoon.
And you were living separately, like long distance for a little while too.
Yeah, for 2 years. Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, now that you're finally together, you're getting this news that you need to like rush on, and you're like, we're just trying to enjoy each other.
Nothing like testing a relationship.
Oh God. Like, and you made it through.
Yeah. And
snaps for Tommy.
Yes.
We'll give him a little credit.
I can't picture going through something like this with anybody else. He is my person and is the strongest person that kept me going through all of it, for sure. Yeah.
Love a good supportive man.
Yeah. Me too. I'm so grateful for him. And he was so good about understanding that that was going to be our life as soon as we were married. There was no questions, no like
hesitation, no let's wait a little bit or anything like that. He was like down for it right away.
Yeah, he was like, let's do it. We're ready. We jumped right into it after we got back from our honeymoon and gave it our best shot.
Just take us down that path. How many times? What happened?
Yeah, it was a lot. So the very first round that we went through obviously is the most optimistic because you go into it and you're so like ready and excited and like knowing the outcome could be so fabulous, but also life-changing because you could potentially end up with a child at the end and so many emotions. Like even just talking about it right now, I just like a flood of every emotion that you feel in that moment just is going through my body again. But so our very first rounds, we ended up making it to egg retrieval. I only had 3 grown follicles, which is pretty low comparatively to others who go through IVF. Typically, it's like 15 to 20 follicles that you go to an egg retrieval with. But knowing my numbers, the doctor was like,
3 is awesome.
You've got something. Let's go for it. Unfortunately, during the egg retrieval, I had 2 empty follicles. And then the 3rd one, we retrieved an egg. It's also not common to have empty follicles when you're going through IVF. Typically, there's an egg in there. So, like, that was just another hurdle that I was overcoming. And coming out of surgery and hearing that 2 of my follicles were empty was also like, okay, my body's done this and it's let me down. Yeah. My body's done this and it's let me down. And now I'm sitting here like after undergoing a major surgery to retrieve my eggs. It's not a major surgery, actually. The science nowadays is ridiculous.
I mean, give yourself credit because it is. You go under anesthesia and you are in an operating room and you are literally having a 15-inch needle puncture your uterus or puncture your ovary. No, it's crazy. It's surgery.
Yeah. So hearing that after the surgery and like it was just disappointment after disappointment. But then we had the 1 egg and the odds of a singular egg making it all the way is very slim. Like our doctor ran us through all the numbers. Like if you retrieve 10 eggs, only about 50% of them are going to make it to
be mature, first of all.
Yes.
Be mature enough to actually inseminate.
Yeah.
And
it just keeps dwindling from there. Every stage of the process, you have a less likelihood. So to have a single egg retrieved, I was like, all right, we're going to give this our best shot, like cross all of our fingers and toes and just see what happens. And I got the call on day 3 that it had matured and bonded with the sperm. And it was like, okay, I think we might have done it. And then 3 hours later, I get the call that it didn't make it.
3 hours later?
Yeah, it was very quickly after.
They called you to say
They called me at noon. I was on my lunch at work. They told me that it bonded and that everything was great. They gave me the hope, which I appreciate. And like to this day, that egg to me is just so special. I'm like, that's my little baby that's living out there in the universe somewhere. And that's what I got. That's
sorry to my listeners, the actual sniffle.
Yeah. So after that time, we jumped right into it again.
Second round
and did it again. Did not make it to an egg retrieval. My follicles were not developing. After that second round, jumped right into a third. I had what is called a luff. So it's a luteinized, unruptured follicle. So like through your cycle, it's basically a cyst. So like through your cycle, it just does not, the follicle that developed doesn't go away and it like lasts through your period and stays into your next cycle, but it really fucks with your hormones. So my hormones were not in the right place to continue on or start an IVF round. So we had to hold off. And that became the cycle. We had to wait because I had these cysts, or we would go through with an IVF cycle, but I wouldn't make it to an egg retrieval because my follicles weren't developing. And I did this 9 times.
Wow.
Yeah. And it got to the point, I did take breaks in between. I would say after like 4 or 5 rounds, I was like, okay, I need a break. This is a lot. My hormones were raging. My poor husband had to put up with lots of crying and moodiness and irritability and hot flashes and just not me, like not the woman that he married, not the woman he met 2 years ago and fell in love with. I wasn't in love with myself anymore. Like I hated who I was and how I felt. I was doing it because I was like, I need to give this all I got. And as much as I was hating myself, I was like, I have to keep going. I have to keep doing this. Like we want a baby and like this is the only way. Yeah. But I just kept falling deeper and deeper and deeper into a rut of
darkness.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before and how you just were sucked into a depression so deep that you said you couldn't recognize yourself anymore.
Yeah. And a depression is a really great way to put it. Like in the moment, I would never describe it that way because I put on a mask and I would go out and I would laugh and I would
fill yourself with toxic positivity and
and listen to what everybody else had to say about it. And I mean, I did it. I got through it. And I'm glad that I did it that way. I'm glad that I didn't curl up in a ball and stay in my room and cry myself to sleep every night. I don't think I would be able to do it any other way than that way. But it's a lot that women go through when they're going through IVF. And then having conversations, like I'm so grateful for all of my friends because you guys really kept me going and positive. And like, I remember texting you and just saying like, I hate my body. I don't love myself anymore. And so positive. And I was like, Hannah, I just need you to let me be negative right now. Like, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
But I can't do it. Like, I can't do the positivity right now. Like, I just need people to listen to what I'm saying. And then you were like, come in for a shoot.
You're like, I just told you I fucking hate myself.
Yeah. How powerful is it though to be able to like say that to a friend? Because I watched Heather go through this. I heard the things people would say. I heard the things people would say to you, like, stop stressing. It'll just come. It'll just happen.
Yeah.
And it's so comforting to know that like you can literally be like, no, I need you to just sympathize with me and be like, your life fucking sucks. You're right. Like, and for anybody out there who is listening to this conversation, probably feeling that same way in their own journey, like, just say it. Just say what you need, how you need people to comfort you. Say what you need to hear. And
on the other side of that, if you have a friend that's going through something like this, I think we touched on the toxic positivity in my episode.
Yeah.
You know, saying things like, it's God's time, you know, it's going to happen when it happens, or just all of those like positive affirmation things that under normal circumstances you feel like really help someone. In these kinds of situations, sometimes it's really just better to like say, yeah, man, that fucking sucks. I'm so sorry. How can I be there for you? What do you need? Yeah. Because we are filled with so many of our own toxic positive thoughts. Like you said, okay, we had one egg. And I'm sure I know that your doctor said it only takes one. I mean, because it's just like, you know, it's just like that rhetoric that like, you don't want to like kill somebody's hopes and dreams. And you know what? Maybe for some person out there, it did only take one. Yeah. And so, you know, somewhere it was just one. If you guys listen to my episode, you know, I did have a successful pregnancy through IVF, but that took 5 eggs, 5 embryos, 1 tested and 4 completely untested embryos, 3 rounds. So for most women, it does take a couple rounds and it does take a couple embryos to get a baby. And so, you know, having somebody just commiserate with you and say, yeah, I'm really sorry for what you're going through. It really does suck. And how can I support you in what you're going through is definitely, you know, if you can muster that to say to a friend, that is for sure going to help more than just filling them with
greeting card.
Vapid.
Because it gets lonely.
Yeah.
Like, you feel like you're the only one in the entire world that's going through it.
And you're even at war with yourself.
Yeah.
Like you said, you hated your body. Like, you could not even.
Yep.
And for you, Brit, it felt even more you felt even more singled out because you kind of had like a compound diagnosis. So like, it's not like you can say, oh, you know, I know 6 or 7 people that are going through IVF, or all of these people in this group on Facebook that I'm in are also going through IVF. Out of those people, how many of those people also have another diagnosis on top of it?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's definitely challenging.
Yeah. It was a weird time for sure.
So about halfway through is when we did our boudoir shoot.
Yes.
You came in.
Yes. After I said no for like a month, I was like, no, not a chance. You're not getting me in there.
Yeah.
And then you did. And it was the absolute best thing I could have done for myself. Because getting in there, getting naked.
For something other than Wanda.
Yes. Exactly. It was invigorating. It was eye-opening. And it was like a time of reflection where I was able to truly just like embrace everything that was going on. And the way that you did it, Han, like, was so perfect. Like, I don't even know how to describe. Just everything that you were saying guided me through the entire thing for me to leave and like be a new me the entire time.
Be the you that you lost.
Yeah.
Not a new you. Just bring you back down to earth and ground you again.
Yeah.
Really reclaim that femininity and that sensuality that this fucking science stuff just steals from you.
It does. It steals all of it. It steals the intimacy that you have in a relationship. It steals like the love and the bonding that you share. I mean, it took it all.
Well,
like,
and you didn't even really get to start it.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, it took it away so quickly before we even had it. So, and like we kept saying, if we could get through this, we can get through anything. And I truly think that's the case.
At what point was it your breaking point where you were like, I am now, at what point did you decide, like, this is my breaking point? You have just done 9 rounds of IVF, obviously all unsuccessful.
Yeah.
And now you are not necessarily newlywed anymore, kind of newlywed still. You're a couple years.
I mean, 2 years later.
2 years later.
We went through this on and off for 2 years.
Yeah. So what would you say your breaking point was where you were like, I need to find myself again. I need to slow down.
Yeah, I think it was right before we did the shoot was like my lowest point through the whole IVF process because I was just like defeated. And then coming out of that shoot, I had fallen back in love with myself and realized that
you had 4 more rounds in you.
Yeah.
The boost of confidence.
Because I'm thinking too, because it's like, yes, I was ready to do more rounds of IVF. I was ready because I also did holistic medicines. I did acupuncture. I did all of the things.
So you doubled up. You went into an insane diet. You did all these Chinese medicines.
Yeah, because I think I convinced myself. So I was coming to terms with the fact that if I wasn't able to get pregnant, if we weren't going to be able to have kids, that I was okay with it. Like Tommy and I had talked about like both scenarios, like literally sat down and we were like, okay, if we could have kids, we're jumping all in and we're going to do it. And like, this is going to be our life now. If we're okay with not having kids, we'll give it a few more goes, but we're going to have to draw a line somewhere. And this is what our life is going to look like, which involved all of the things that we had talked about in our past, just minus the children. The doctor had talked through other options with us because we've obviously unsuccessfully gone through 5 rounds of IVF. Yep. So he provided us with the option of egg donor. He talked through adoption. And at that point, I was like, no, like if we're going to do that, like I was not in the right mindset to even think about those other options at that point. So Tommy and I looked at both of our options and decided to try IVF some more. But diving into it, really, like if we were going to give it a full-on go, we were going to do it hardcore. I did the holistic diet. I worked with a Chinese medicine doctor and did a complete diet for over a year. Changed everything I was eating. I was on serious vitamins and supplements to boost my hormones and get them all in line. I went to acupuncture. I was going to acupuncture 4 times a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
And specifically for
fertility.
For fertility.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're,
yeah. So it was my life. Like it became our life. But I was in the right mindset for it. I was ready for that. It was no longer a dark place. It was I'm 100% in and giving it my all. And I am, if it doesn't happen, I am proud of myself for giving it my all.
Training for that marathon.
Yes.
You really, really put all that work in.
Yeah. So we did it, and we did 4 more rounds of IVF, and all of them unsuccessful. None of them made it to egg retrieval. I never had another egg retrieval besides my very first round of IVF, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
To me. And those are the odds that I look at. Like, again, as a math-minded person, the odds of going through 9 rounds of IVF and only getting 1 to an egg retrieval is mind-blowing. Like, I talked with so many women who have gone through IVF successfully, unsuccessfully, but they've been to egg retrievals almost every time. Like, when you think of IVF, you think of the whole runaround of an egg retrieval, the implantation,
like there's like several steps you never even made it to.
Right. So when I talk about IVF, a lot of people are like, how many eggs did you get? How many embryos do you have? And I'm like, oh no, like I didn't even make it to an egg retrieval besides that one time. So it does get confusing. Like the idea of me going through IVF and not making it to egg retrieval gets confusing to people because they don't understand how you don't make it to egg retrieval. And that's where I was like, okay, like I'm done with IVF at this point. The very last round, like Tommy and I had talked about very clearly, like this is going to be our last round. Whatever happens, happens. We got to like the end date of when I was supposed to be stopping the medications for an egg retrieval. My follicles weren't developed yet, but my doctor knew that it was our last round. It was our last go. So he pushed it and he was like, let's give it 5 more days and see what these follicles do. Like, we know this is your last round. You're not supposed to be on medications for 23 days, but let's see what happens. So he even gave it a full go. And I appreciate that because he tried. And that last conversation, he again brought up the other options. And Tommy and I finally got myself to a place too where I was able to like talk through those options. But there are so many stipulations that come along with an egg donor. And adoption is just maybe down the road potentially, but it's not in the cards for us right now.
It's not a fix-all.
Yeah.
When your mind and your heart are wanting to have a child, it's not just like wanting to procure a child out of thin air. It's not the desire to like just get one. It's to conceive one. It's to carry one. It's to nurse one. It's to, you know what I mean? To know that it's yours or part of yours. So when people are so quick to say adoption, yes, at the end you would end up with a child, but there are a whole lot of other steps and like mental hoops that you have to go through to get yourself into a position where adoption is the right option for you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It doesn't replace having a child of your own. Did you and Tommy talk about the alternatives? Did you guys talk about, you know, an egg donor or anything like that?
Yeah, we definitely did talk about it. And I mean, he's so great. He's like, both of us feel the same way. Like we love each other so much and we're so happy with each other that we're content living the rest of our lives, just him and I. So talking through those options, like that was a huge point of the conversation is like, we're happy together. So whatever we decide is like just a bonus, right? And thinking about having an egg donor and all of the complications that come along with my uterus, like I, no matter what the case, would never be able to carry a baby to full term. So it would be a preemie baby. You have to think about, is that egg going to stick to my uterus? My hormones are so out of whack in general. They were out of whack before I even started IVF. Will that egg stick to my uterus? Like,
yeah, there's a lot
that goes into it. And then the second more selfish perspective is that it's a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
And insurance doesn't cover it because you have to send somebody else through IVF and their insurance isn't going to cover an IVF for them when they're giving their egg to someone else. So it would be completely out of our pocket. And thinking about that, knowing the complications that could potentially come along with it.
Knowing that, again, IVF is not a sure shot. So, you know, you could get an egg donor that also, I mean, they're usually women who have already had a live birth and they, you know, their levels are tested. But yeah. I mean, that still doesn't mean
it's never 100%.
Yeah, that you're going to get anything out of the other end.
And knowing that travel was something that both of us always inspired to do together, and we're both just teachers, so our salaries are not anything extravagant. It was one or the other. It was a family and a life of kids, but we would be home and make it that. Or we have to really think about how we want to spend the rest of our life. And if travel is what we really want to do,
then it's the two of you and traveling.
Then that's that. Yeah. And it's a lot of people will disagree with that thinking. A lot of people will have their own opinions about that. But when you're living it and you're in the moment, you really have to think about those circumstances and like have those hard conversations. And like, it kills me to say that I would choose travel over having a child.
But you tried.
But it's not, you're not choosing traveling over having a child.
Yeah.
You did. You gave it everything that your body really couldn't. You scienced it all the way.
Yeah.
I think you did more than you give yourself credit for some days, maybe. You eventually had to make a choice between choosing yourself again. You had to literally sit down and talk with your husband and be like, we're losing each other and I'm losing myself over this. And I would rather live this life with you.
And travel.
And have myself and be the person you fell in love would be the person that I used to love.
Yeah.
And that's the choice that you made. It wasn't one or the other.
And I think what really stuck with me is one night we were at a wedding, and at the table were a couple of friends from work. And later on that week, that friend from work came up to me and said, I have to tell you what your husband said to me that night. And he made a comment to her about how he was excited to finally have his wife back after we were done with IVF. Sorry. And that comment just like stuck with me because like I did realize, but I didn't really realize that like how much he's also gone through in this process. And like, oh God, it was the hardest thing that you could go through in general as a couple. But when you're first married and that's what you're doing initially. And like, I know I said it before, but I would not be able to have done it with anybody else. Like that relationship with, I think of like anybody from my past, like it would have been broken in a week. I would have been like, you're out. You're not supporting me. You're not. Like he was the most supportive and understanding and patient, so patient through it all. So yeah.
Thanks, Tommy.
Yeah.
Snaps for Tommy again.
I know. I'm really hyping him up. He's going to listen to this. Like, woo.
It's like, it was all worth it.
Yeah. He deserves it though.
So, Britt.
Yeah.
How did it feel the first time that you took a trip together without packing sadness in your suitcase?
Yeah. It was so freeing. And it like part of it felt a little selfish. And like there's always that part like that will potentially stick with me. But it was so nice. Like, we were on top of the world. We got like, I'm trying to think of the first trip that we actually took together. The very first trip that we booked after all of the rounds of IVF, I get all these emails of all these deals all the time. So I like look through them, and there was one to Ecuador and it was so affordable. And I look over at him on the couch and I was like, how do you feel about going to the Amazon rainforest? And he was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's time for a big trip. Like, we have to go somewhere. We've always wanted to go somewhere big. Like, let's go to Ecuador. He honestly looked at me like I was crazy, but he trusted me and he was like, all right, let's do it. And we booked it that night. And then I added on Colombia for 5 days before we got to Ecuador. And then before that, we even went down to Miami. So we made it a big deal. Life-changing trip in general. Like, anybody looking to go to Ecuador should do it. Like, it's so underrated, and it's the best place that it's not the best place. I was going to say it's not the best place I've been, but it's the best place that I've been with my husband. And we just felt so free. We felt like there were no worries associated with the trip.
There was nothing to rush home to.
There was nothing to rush home to. No shots that we had to take along the way, have to worry about travel with needles or whatever the case may be.
What you were eating, what you were drinking.
Oh my God, that was a huge part of it too, because I had finally been like, F this diet. Like,
give me all the cheese.
Like, I just want to eat foods again and not have to think about what I'm eating, because that was also so stressful. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was the best time. It was great. And we've literally traveled so much from then too. Like, we've just like go, 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 go.
I was going to say, shortly before that, you started creating Brit Around the World.
Yeah. So that was at the very end of my IVF. It was, I would say, my last round of IVF. I did one more round as I was creating Brit Around the World. It was like that transitional phase of like, okay, we're giving this one last go.
But if not, here's my new life that I'm going to fall back into.
Yeah.
Or start.
Here's my new dream I'm going to chase.
Yes. Yeah. So it was really transitional period of my life, and honestly the best transition, because where I am today is the happiest and most alive I've felt probably ever in my whole life.
That's amazing.
Love that.
Yeah.
So, Brit Around the World.
Yep.
You are now a content influencer. You literally get shipped off and sent to hotels, and you do collaborations with these places, creating TikToks and Instagram stories. Break down like who new Brit Around the World is.
Okay. So I am a travel creator, and that like encompasses influencing, content creation, including UGC and blogging. I have learned all three, which is pretty fun. And then I share like where to stay, things to do, what to pack, I work with a lot of hotels and Airbnbs, vacation properties, restaurants, or excursions in certain areas, tourism boards, which are super fun because you're basically promoting an entire country.
Baby, you're Brit around the world.
God, I mean, it took me a long time to be like, oh yeah, like I'm a travel creator because, and I don't even say it like that. That was
that was so confident. Say it again.
No, but it is like I suffered from imposter syndrome like the entire first year. Like it's been just over a year since I've created this. So it's still pretty new and I'm still learning along the way. But as soon as I finished my rounds of IVF and like decided this was my journey, I dove in and I did my research and I studied as much as I could study. And I follow all these creators that are so inspiring. And like it's inspired me to be like, I want to inspire other people. Like I want people to see what this world is actually about. And truthfully, like being able to travel and immerse yourself into different cultures and meet new people, like it puts a perspective on life that everybody needs to experience. Having different perspective is the most important part. And I think like having those different perspectives from a young age has helped me embrace the hard times in my life and helped me see positivity through darkness, as hard as it may be, and has helped me like find the courage to start a new journey and try something new. And as much as I hated social media before I did this, like
Instagramless Brit.
I'm literally Instagramless Brit too. That's how I started because I just didn't want Instagram when it first came out. And social media was not my thing. So a completely different world, something I never thought I would do. And here I am literally traveling the world. Like I've worked with companies across the US and the Caribbean and Europe and South America, like
name brand hotels.
Literally worldwide.
Sailboats.
It's crazy.
And all these things are coming to you now.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's only been a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've even gone places with you where you're doing collabs and all this stuff now.
That's the best part is that I get to bring the people I love with me. Like it's not like I'm not even doing this alone. I'm not alone anymore. I get to bring people along. It's Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I love it though. Get yourself a travel friend. They're literally the best. Get yourself an influencer friend who travels and it's even better.
It is. It's so fun. And the experiences that we're having along the way, they're life-changing. And I will do this for as long as I possibly can because I just enjoy it and it brings me so much joy.
Have you ever taken a trip by yourself or have you always been traveling with just friends and Tommy?
No, I've taken a trip on my own before. It was before all of the IVF stuff. So it was quite a few years ago. I was 25 when I took the trip. I was fresh out of a relationship and like that brokenhearted girl is like, I'm going to do something extreme.
And I'm going to buy a plane ticket.
Yeah. So I did. I bought a plane ticket and I went to the Azores. And it was definitely life-changing. It was a trip where I discovered myself. I refound my confidence and understood that I was able to do hard things on my own. And then the Azores has become a very special place to me from that trip. To the point where we all went back last April.
I was lucky enough to experience it.
Yeah. And I plan to go back there continuously throughout my life because it did just spark a travel bug in me. It helped me find myself. It helped just me really become an adult in a sense. At that age too, you're kind of I don't know what I'm doing with myself. And when you take a solo trip, it's one of those things that you either do it and you love it or you do it and you're like, I'm never doing that again. And it was oh, I could go sit at a restaurant by myself and eat dinner. I can do all of these things on my own and I'm so comfortable doing it on my own. So yeah, that was the solo trip that I took that was all right, we're going back.
I literally did the same thing after my big breakup.
Yeah.
I was like, I need a solo trip. I need to run away and I needed to know that I could do hard things. And it was so empowering, honestly, taking that solo trip, going to dinner by yourself, getting drinks and trying to go out at night by yourself.
Yes.
But it's something that I really feel like every woman should experience in her life is traveling and kind of breaking that barrier and that wall that says oh, it's not safe for you to do this alone, or it's not this or that. And it's like, listen, if you're paying attention to your surroundings, like you are stronger than you even know. And why build that wall up?
Sometimes it's not safe to travel by yourself. So please follow somebody like Brit around the world to to make sure that the places that you're choosing to go by yourself are a safe.
Yes, Heather has a great point. Always do the research before you go. Like I researched my ass off all about the Azores, and it happened to be one of the safest places for female solo travelers to go to. And I definitely planned an itinerary before I went. Like there's a way to do solo travel where you're not just
tell people where you're going.
Good luck. Yeah, here I am. Like, what am I going to do next? No, you want to be able to go there and feel comfortable by doing the research and having things planned. Don't go into it without having nothing, because then you're going to feel really lost. And being in a new country, this was my first time out of the country ever, mind you. So I had never left the United States before. I had never needed to use a passport before. I don't speak another language besides English, and their primary language is Portuguese. So it's going into all of that for the first time at the age of 25 on your own is a huge jump. It's leaps and bounds away from my norm. So I had to do the research. I had to find some comfort in the discomfort. And it that helped a lot. Yeah.
And so like you mentioned, the Azores is a part of Portugal.
Yeah.
It's a little island right before you hit the mainland of Portugal. It has waterfalls and
hot springs.
And you can make tea with water that's just flowing on the side of the road because there's thermal water and it's
energy.
Hot.
Yes. It's a magical place.
It truly is so magical. So if you're trying to plan a trip, you kind of have a full itinerary that you sell for it too, don't you?
Yeah. So I have a mini guide on my page. I posted a day-by-day guide of everything we did during our time there in April. And then on my blog, I also have, right on there, I have where to stay. I have things to do, so excursions that you could book, and then what to pack. And then in addition to that, I have a full 7-day itinerary.
Wow. Which I recommend because it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was probably one of the best trips I've ever taken in my life because it was so full of adventure, but then there was relaxing time and downtime, and then it was fun and exciting downtown, and then it was chill at a coffee shop.
It's a perfect mix of a little bit of everything.
And I love your guides. I love reading about where you're going, what you're doing, your favorite places to eat. That's one of my favorite things. If you guys are into traveling, make sure you find her travel blog. We're going to put it, of course, at the bottom of this, but
yes, please do. I put a lot of heart and soul into it. I have a passion for travel. So what I'm sharing is not just oh, go to the spot, because it's I have done my research and I've gone to places that are not super touristy. I've also gone to super touristy places. So I share a little bit of both, and it's culture is what I'm sharing. If you're going to go, I want you to experience the whole place for what it is, and not just going to see the Eiffel Tower. Yes. I haven't even been to Paris yet, but
me either, actually.
Yeah.
What are you doing in October?
Maybe. Okay. I have a weekend free.
Columbus Day, here we come.
Yes, exactly.
Wait, does that fall on a holiday? Great.
Yeah.
We're in.
So bringing things back around to the beginning, what would you say to the woman who feels like she's giving up on her original plan because she has to change directions?
I would say that changing directions should be part of the plan. I've learned that I need to be flexible in my thinking, and I need to be accepting of whatever is happening for a reason, and you're constantly learning as you're going. The idea of change is definitely scary, especially when you dream of something your entire life as being one way and never even thought to picture it a different way. Allow yourself to be scared. Allow yourself to feel all of the feelings. keep a sense of positivity because you have to. That's the only way that you're going to get through it. But be accepting of the change, understanding of the change, knowledgeable, like teach yourself how to move through it. And like, I think about everything that I went through in that process and everything that I'm going to take out of that. Like, I have learned so many lessons through that. I know how to be accepting of really difficult times. And I mean, prior to all of this too, like, I have a past of like other things that I've gone through that have taught me how to be strong and resilient. But this specifically was so personal and really changed the direction of my life. It changed the future that I foresaw. But be flexible in your thinking, be accepting of the change, as hard as it may be, and let yourself go down the path that feels right to you, because there's no right path. Everybody's going to have their opinions. Everybody is going to have their input. Be true to you and surround yourself with people who are supportive and understanding of what you're going through and not just filling your cup with toxic positivity. Talk about it. Speak about it.
Be about it.
Be about it. No, but really just like stay true to you and do what feels right, because there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. And once you find the direction that feels right, give it a go. And if it's right, like, you'll know it's right.
I love that.
Yeah. It took me a while to get there, but I just hope every other woman, because again, IVF is not easy. And you will hear so many times to not lose hope. And like, when it's meant to be, it'll be, and all of those things. And yes, that can be true, but it's not always true. So just do what feels right to you and try not to lose yourself in the process.
I agree. Now the last and burning question. What's next on your chapter? What are you going to continue to chase and do?
Yeah, I think we all know the answer is travel. Lots and lots of traveling. Traveling with my husband, traveling with my friends. I really am enjoying this content creating life and creating for other people. Like, every time that somebody messages me or comments and is just feeling inspired or excited to see where I'm off to next, or like, thank you so much for sharing this because I'm headed there in a couple of weeks. Like, all of those things are so exciting and fill my cup now. So I will continue with my travel creation. I will continue seeing the world. I want to continue like learning new cultures and embracing myself with new people and continuing to grow. Like, there's no stopping at this point. Like, I just want to continue on and continue to grow and flourish as a traveler.
I love that.
Yeah.
You truly have rewritten your story.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's an honor watching you, like following you and just seeing your posts and just seeing you progress every day and new like video tricks and clips and all these cool things you're doing. Like, as an outsider, I have literally loved watching it so much.
Thank you.
And if you guys don't follow her yet, click on the link below, follow the blog, get on her Instagram, maybe even buy a travel guide and run away one day.
Yeah. And I'll see you somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll just be walking through the airport and they're like, Brit around the world. And you're like, what's up?
Honestly, if that ever happens to me, I might faint. I might be like, what?
Yeah.
What? You know me from Instagram? And I'm primarily on Instagram. Instagram to me is easier. TikTok is a whole different ballgame over there, but it's still fun. I post every once in a while.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we are definitely going to share all of your things underneath.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This has been a ball.
Yeah.
It's been a roller coaster talking to you all
roller
again.
coaster.
This is like my first time really sharing this story with the world. So
we're really happy that you did it with us.
Yeah.
We are.
I'm proud to be here with you guys.
I'm proud to have you as a friend.
I'm also so proud of you guys for starting this podcast. I just have to put that out there.
It's been a long day, everybody.
Oh.
No, this has been great.
Yeah. These conversations are conversations that a lot of women need to hear, because also surrounding conversations of infertility and IVF and miscarriage and loss, deciding to live your life child-free, whether it's because of a medical diagnosis or just a choice, those are conversations and decisions that other women need to hear, and just know that they're okay and that there is a life beyond that. And I'm really proud of you for making that decision and, deciding that
you were going to live for you.
Yeah. Just because one journey doesn't work out doesn't mean another can't. Your journey's not over. It's just going down a different path.
I love that.
Yeah.
Snaps for Brit.
And there is a whole community, with what I'm learning, of dinks out there.
Dinks?
Yep. It's dual income, no kids.
Oh my God.
And I just
Sign me
happened
up.
to get, I don't know, encompassed into this community somehow. Well, now I know how, but like it just started popping up on my feed. I'm like, a dink? What the heck is a dink? Like your reaction to it.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you know what that was?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, dual income, no kids.
And so it's basically all the rich aunties and uncles just living their best life.
So here I am, just a dink, living my best life.
Awesome. I love that for you.
Me too.
I love that for you.
The chapter where she decided to be a dink. And that's the title. And everyone else will be like, what? Well, thank you, Britt. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From the bottom of our hearts.
Yeah.
I love talking to you guys.
And thank you to all of our main characters who tuned in today. Hopefully you get some takeaways from this. You learn how to better help a friend who may be in need, and you're able to just be a shoulder for someone when they need it. Till next time. Bye. A quick blessing before we go. May your mirror be kind, your coffee be strong, and your confidence slightly delusional.
You are the main character, the muse, and the movement.
We'll see you next chapter, babe.